Hi guys, Shot from Scarlet Moon Creations, and this is the start of another HRCYED reading vlog, discussion, whatever have you, from one of the 25 prompts for the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. This is the start of the prompt to read a book and then 3 books from authors that put blurbs on the back of the book. So, the HRCYED is the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. It's created by HRCYED, and it is a year-long reading challenge with 25 prompts. It started on January 7th, 2024, and will finish on January 6th, 2025. I think HRCYED is planning on doing it again, so I jumped in and I decided I would be doing a video for each of the 25 prompts, and those videos will be coming out when they come out. Some of these prompts will take a full year and others not, so you'll get them when you get them. Hopefully before the end, or no, because like I said, some will take a full year, so anyway, find a book with 3 or more blurbs and read the books from each of the blurbed authors as well as the one you picked. Further details: pick any book, look for one that has 3 or more recommendations on it from other authors, and read any book by those authors as well. So 3 or more. Do I have to read each? I don't know if this means I have to read a book by every single blurbed author, because this will be difficult. However, I have to say this. So, I wasn't focused on this prompt, but I was looking at the books I was reading. Not many of them had blurbs on them at all, and I'm like, what's going on? I think at first I was only looking at the backs of the books, or the front and back cover, and not seeing, being like, uh-oh. I have kind of 2 choices. One is the Deck Cattails Assassins, but I think I'm using this for another white prompt. So there are white prompts and purple prompts. This is one of the white prompts. The purple prompts are ones you can the books you use for purple prompts can also be used for others as well. The white prompts you can't use. You can only use double up prompts with a purple one. So yeah, I took this to read. The book you read with the blurbs plus 3 blurbs, right? My other option right now, the one I'm really going for, is Tarot for the Hard Work. This is by Minnis. So that means this vlog is going to be very particular. But maybe not 100%, because at least one of these blurbs is not tarot focused. But this is, if I go this way, this is going to be a non-fiction vlog.
What can you do to deepen and activate your empathy so that your feelings become not facts, but rather increasingly trustworthy compasses to help guide your everyday choices? Consider where your money goes. Consider the people around you. Consider the events you attend. Consider your spiritual practices and tools. Consider where you get your information from. Consider where your sources got their sources. Consider the excuses you make. Consider the stories you hear. Consider the stories you tell yourself. Consider getting uncomfortable. Go into dark places. Learn, absorb, integrate. Continually decentralize the racism in your inner voice. Facing and working on your own darkness are acts of genuine love and light to the world. Suggested exercises. 1. Watch.
I am actually almost done with Tarot for the Hard Work. This little receipt is where I'm at. This is, like I said, by Maria Minnis, who is a Black woman and a tarot reader. I am a tarot reader. I do it mostly for personal reasons, but also I do read professionally when I feel like it. I get kind of overwhelmed and sick of people, and so I don't do it all the time. But I have several decks. My channel has, I talk about decks, I talk about tarot readings that I do for myself, and sometimes I'll show you guys when I'm doing it professionally if I get my shit together, but which is rarely. But anyway, this book was a book club pick for Bronx Witch Book Club. Bronx Witch HQ is not that far from me. It's run by Ali Kravitz, and so is the book club. And they read this book. I wanted to read this book, and I got it out from my library. It took me a long time to actually finally pick it up, but here we are. This book, Tarot for the Hard Work, is exploring the 22 major arcana cards with using them as self-reflective tools for racial activism. And do I need to go into tarot? Let's see if I can do this briefly. So, tarot is a card system that includes for divination and self-reflection purposes, and even maybe magical purposes, depending on how you want to use them. And they're very versatile. It is 78 cards, and they're split into two categories: the major arcana and the minor arcana. The minor arcana is then further split into the four suits, which are very similar to what we know in playing cards, but not exactly. So it is said in some circles historically that playing cards are a kind of descendants of the tarot, and in others it's like, no, it's the opposite. But whatever have you, the major arcana is 22 cards 0 to 21, and they are considered archetypes, and so therefore overarching things in your life. The 56 majors in their four categories are seen as more mundane and day-to-day life things. This book focuses on the 22 majors and those archetypes. How do we put it? Maria had a blog, and it was about the archetypal journey to confront racism and inspire collective healing. This is a Black woman in the United States, so that is the lens this is focused through. However, I feel like it's pretty versatile. I felt that I could very much, through each chapter, see how not only these can be used intersectionally with other types of prejudice and world issues, social issues, but how you as an individual can also look at each card, each archetype through a lens, as an Asian person, as a Hispanic person, as a white person, as a male or a female, and gender issues, as someone who is able-bodied or disabled with disability issues, one's neurotypical or neurodiverse with mental issues, political issues, how things come up, all of that, environmental, etc., etc., etc. So, I appreciate that, and Yeah, so as I was saying, it started out as a blog, on her website, and it got popular enough that she wrote a book with a lot of the activities and journaling and prompts. So I've been enjoying it. I started physically reading it, and then I switched to listening because I need to get this back to the library. I need to buy a copy. I feel like having one read through is good first, and then coming back and doing the work, so you know kind of what to expect. I like that she says in the beginning, many people, especially because this is a workbook, it has a beginning and an end as a book, but that it's best if you see the major arcana as a cycle, as a circle. And so we start at 0 and go to 21, but that's not the end. The expectation is you keep going. But also, there was, I think it's in the High Priestess, or maybe it was in the Empress chapter, where she says something like, you need to start where you are at, and I like that aspect as well. I could totally see myself, shuffling the majors and figuring out, or asking the question of where am I at in, my racism journey and the racial activist journey, and where am I at in the journey of confronting racism and eradicating racism, and starting from that card. So yeah, maybe I'm at the Tower, or maybe I'm at the Moon, or maybe I'm at the Lovers, and you just go from there. Pulling a card and then seeing, oh, this is where my focus is going to be this month or this year, whatever works for you. I like that. It leaves that open. This is, like I said, a workbook. There are activities, and that's the main point. Not just, thinking and putting out love and light and good vibes. You have to do the work, and it's going to be hard because it is hard. Also, she does include the idea of colorism and internalized racism as well. So this is not a book solely geared at white people, and as a non-white person, I appreciate that. So each chapter is pretty similar in format. There's a general description of the archetype of the card, and first it starts off with a quote, and the title is whatever that card is, and then, like I said, a general description, a very basic description of the card, not very long at all, and the general ideas of the archetype of that card, and then some keywords and phrases associated with it, and then the first activity is you put in your own keywords, and then she goes into what liberation work could look like with that particular card, and that section is different lengths for each card. Then we get into correspondences, followed by how can that particular card or archetype can show up in your life. And this is a section where you look at the shadow and light aspects of the card, the more likable aspect versus the ones we kind of don't want to deal with, and how that could show up in your life, again, as an archetype. And another activity for that. Then a particular type of work or activism for that card. And again, that section is different for each card, different length, and different amount of details. Then we have some suggested exercises, which usually 5 or 6 of those. Yeah, seems like, depending. And then how you can identify that archetype outside of yourself. But also within yourself, in other people, in situations. There's keywords and all of that stuff. Creating affirmations comes next. And magical practice you can use to conjure that archetype or that card. And then how you can work on becoming that card in a positive aspect. And you making like a challenge for yourself or a goal, what it is your objective with embodying that particular archetype. Also a section on reflecting on your experiences embodying, and good, bad, or indifferent. And lastly, each chapter ends with a building a toolkit section and what you do to add to your toolkit using that particular archetype and or some racial activism or intersectional work. I like that the first 3 cards are, how does she put it, more internal preparation, preparing, and then you dive into specific topics and additional exercises, starting with the Empress, which is card number 3. So 0, 1, and 2 are preparation, and that's fine. But start where you're at. I like it. It is a workbook. I can't stress that enough, and it's pretty repetitive. I think some correspondences I don't necessarily agree with. Like, there's a friction there. They don't quite fit right in my brain. And that's not super important when we're talking about this kind of work. So I can give this a 5 stars, but I can also say, for me, because we're all individuals, maybe I could write my own work that fit those archetypes. If that makes sense. But I'm perfectly willing to follow Maria Minnis' suggestions here. So yeah, definitely check this book out if you haven't. Now, there's only one blurb on the back. You can't really see it because it's covered by the library QR code, but it's a excerpt of the full paragraph here, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages of praise blurbs for Tarot for the hard work. See? And I was looking at them like, oh, there are several books in here that I want to read, one which I already have, so stick around if you are interested in tarot in particular, though I might have one tarot book that is not. One book that is not tarot. Like I said, I have one of the others. There's 1, 2, 3. Now 4 books that I'm really interested in. There's one author in here that I've read a book from. There's 5 books I'm really interested in. I don't know what that is. So at most, I'll be talking about 4 more, maybe 5. Because 5 or 6 books is usually the longest, like, review type video I can do. So, I was really, I mean, she talks about this author so much, but there's no blurb from this author. I was like, I can't make that stretch. But, I guess I'll start each section by reading the blurb from Tarot for the Hard Work that I picked it from. And this is the one that has a bit on the back. An important and profoundly edifying book for all tarot readers. We want to be anti-racist, dismantle internalized racism, but how? Tarot for the Hard Work provides actionable exercises in addition to being a workbook for self-reflection. This is meditation and liberation work keyed to the major arcana set on a path of healing. Perhaps the most important tarot text that will define this decade. Maria Minnis exudes compassion and wisdom. That quote is by Annabelle Wen, author of Holistic Tarot. So I have not started that, but I do have an ebook copy that was gifted to me, and I'm very grateful to that person. The Holistic Tarot was on my... Ooh. So I feel like this blog is mostly going to be watched by tarot peeps. I talked about this in my 54321 tarot tag video. I'll link it somewhere. And it was one of the 4 tarot books, and at least one other is also Blurb, so we'll get to that later. Annabelle Wen, I have one of her decks, and as a reader and author and I'm going to say educator that I highly respect in the tarot community, the divination community, the spiritual community, and that is online in particular. So I can't wait to dive into the Holistic Tarot, which is huge. Actually, let me pull it up. Let's see what it says on Amazon. The physical book is 896 pages. I'm assuming that includes like any glossary or references and whatnot, because the full title is Holistic Tarot, an integrative approach to using tarot for personal growth. Oh, there's 500 plus illustrations and spreads as well. Okay, let's go. I'm not going to pick that up right this second because I am currently reading 78 Degrees of Wisdom, which I've never read before, so as not to mix these things up, let's come back later. Hi guys, so unfortunately this is the end of this vlog. Talking about the one book, because this prompt I never got any further with the 3 blurbs on the back. I think I chose something way too hard. The books I have they're long, they're stuff I need to study, and maybe if I'd started at the beginning of the year that would have worked out, but it didn't. So it is what it is. This is an incomplete prompt for her again. The first you'll see of several that I was not able to complete. and it makes me a little sad, but it is what it is. Guys, like this video if you like this, subscribe if you're new, hit the notification bell so you know when the next video is coming. Let me know in the comments down below if you read this or any of the ones I mentioned that I wanted to read. And this is going out in particular to my tarot people, tarot tube, and if you're not a tarot reader, or if you've only dabbled, I guess, and never looked into any of the books, do any of these sound interesting to you? But yeah, guys, links in the description to everything I mentioned. The books are listed. There's also a 10% off discount code to my Etsy shop where I make all natural bath and body products and offer tarot and oracle card readings. There is also a link to my Patreon where I offer various things at different tiers. Just like my YouTube, it is many faceted. And you have the possibility of following for free, but one of the main perks for Patreon on the Sunset tier is to see all of these videos like this one early and ad-free. If that's something that is interesting to you, do so and check out the other tiers. You can also follow my Instagram if you want to follow me somewhere else, my Amazon wish list, and I think that is it for me today. Oh no, my story graph, if you would like to see what I read when I read it, not when I finally get around to talking about it and posting a video that I filmed. But yeah, that is it for me today, guys. Thank you as always so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye!